Hello, hello, Top Fan Rivalry followers. It is Bill and Jackson. We're back for the weekly review. Happy Friday. It is the 21st of April. We're so excited. Jackson, are you excited to be back?
Yeah, I'm excited to be back, but where did April go?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Somebody was saying something about 4th of July, and I'm like, that's like a couple of months away. It's like right here.
It
So,
still is a couple months away, but yeah, it's like May in like a week and a half.
yeah, it's
Wild.
Yeah, pretty nuts, pretty nuts, pretty nuts. And so I'm excited to have you back on. For those of you that don't know, you may have saw the reel that Top Fan Rivalry did. Jackson was in town. He was in Southern California this last week, and he and I, with his family, went to a Padres game. Unfortunately, I didn't sit with them very long. I was running around doing Top Fan stuff, and Jackson was throwing peanuts at me, going, "Sit down, dude, sit down." Come on, Jackson. I'm just trying to, hang out with some Top Fan Rivalry fans, but Jackson's throwing peanuts at me. So, for those of you that are Dodger fans, you're going to need to throw peanuts at Jackson when you get a chance.
Yeah.
Uh, but we did get cool hats. We got they had the African American Heritage when the Padres were part of the Pacific Coast League, and they were wearing those jerseys and the hats that night. So Jackson and I got a few of them. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, probably one of the cooler. It's nice and simple. It's got a big red S on it, but those uniforms that they were wearing were really nice. I really like those with the cream.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Um, I still think they're better than their City Connect jerseys, although I think anything's better than their City Connect jerseys.
I'd have to agree with that.
Some Padre fans may not agree with me, but anyways, we are not here to pick on any team, not even the Oakland A's, who are 3-16. There's so much to pick on about them. I'm sure we'll talk about them throughout this. But Jackson, what is your numero uno?
I
What do we
mean,
want to talk about first?
you had something. I had something else, but you lined it up perfectly. Let's talk about those Oakland A's.
Oh,
You
air
know,
quotes, air
air
quotes.
air quotes on Oakland because they've come to an agreement with the city of Las Vegas to purchase land to
Mhm.
build a new stadium. The later in the afternoon reports as of today are that they might play in the minor league stadium that exists there, which only holds 9,000 fans.
Which would be
So
8,500 fans more than what they're getting now at the Oakland Coliseum per game.
yeah, sadly, probably yeah. Uh, you know, this is one of those things where you can't help. I feel bad for you A's fans. That the city. I don't know behind the scenes what happened between the city council and ownership. The fact of the matter is the Athletics are moving again for the fourth time in their history. They will be in a new city.
Mhm.
So the third time in their history, their fourth different city. Excuse me. So uh, you know, ownership kind of blew it up on purpose. Maybe it was for apathy. Maybe it was to save money for the move. I don't know. The fact of the matter is the A's will be playing in Las Vegas soon. Nobody knows when, but soon.
Yeah. Which makes it hard for them to sign players and to draft players because players don't know where to go. So if you have people that are in their contract year this year, do they want to play for the A's? I mean, honestly, as we're filming this on the 21st, honestly, the A's are 3-16. Okay. They will be the first team probably to 20 losses. They are on pace right now to have over 110 losses this season. Like, do you want to play for that club? Do you
Yeah,
want, and you don't know, do you buy a house in Oakland this next year? Oh, wait, maybe Las Vegas? Like, what are you doing? So it's gonna make the A's really tough to watch for the next couple of years, and I feel bad for their fans.
I mean the tough to watch already started last week. You saw where they had 17 walks in a game against the Mets, which is just absolutely atrocious.
Mhm.
And thank goodness for the pitch clock because that game was only about 3 hours and 40 minutes. Without the pitch clock, that's a 5 6 hour game, and nobody should have to sit through something like that.
Well, listen. 16 walks in a game is appropriate, but that 17th one just killed it. That's just way too many, that 17th one.
Anything over six in my book is too many.
16. Oh, poor athletics fans. And we've had some on the podcast who are fantastic people, but gosh, it's tough. It's really, really
It
tough.
is tough.
So, okay, my number one has to go out to Mr. 200, Mr. number 22, 22nd on the all-time list for strikeouts, and that's Clayton Kershaw. So, congratulations to Clayton. He won game 200. He did it in a pretty dominant fashion, too, which I was a little surprised. I really wanted to see him go into the eighth. So in the seventh inning, Jackson, I don't know if you were watching this game. Did you watch the game?
No, I just watched the highlights.
Okay, so in the seventh inning, he goes out there. He's only got 73 pitches. Gets the first guy out on like 5 pitches. Gets the second guy out on like 6 or 7 pitches. So he's only got 12 pitches into the thing. And I'm thinking, hey, get this next guy out on 6 pitches. Ask Dave Roberts to go out for the eighth inning. Say you threw 8, right? Next batter was a 14 pitch at bat, and the guy got a base hit. And so Clayton ended up throwing 27 pitches in that inning to bring him up to no 30 something pitches in that inning. Brought him up to 105 pitches total.
Yeah, because
So
he stranded first and third, right? It was like 2 straight
yeah,
hits, and then he struck out the next batter.
yeah, 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 exactly. So but hats off to Mr. 22, Mr. 200 wins. Clayton Kershaw puts him only a couple wins, only 9 wins behind Don Drysdale for the second all-time Dodger. He puts it 33 wins, I think, behind Don Sutton, which obviously he's not going to do that this season. But if he has a healthy season this year, he might get 10 or 12 more wins, which will then put him in line to go after Sutton if he wants to pitch another year, maybe 2. But again, hats off. First ballot Hall of Famer. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, he has a career 2.48 ERA, which is like the lowest in the live ball era since 1920. That's just with pitchers among pitchers with 200 wins. So you think pitchers with 200 wins, you think some pretty good pitchers. He's approaching 3,000 strikeouts, I believe. He'll get that. So I mean,
Yeah.
I know some goober on the Baseball Writers Association of America is not going to vote for him for some stupid reason, but he should be unanimous Hall of Famer, just like Albert Pujols. It's just like it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
He checks all the boxes.
Yeah. No. True statement. True statement. Awesome. So what do you got for number 2?
How about the Max Scherzer ejection against the Dodgers?
Stole my number 2, but I like it.
Yeah, so I heard about it. I watched the video. I read the transcript, and from what it sounded like, as of today he got slapped with a 10-game suspension and a $100,000 fine. Ouch. But it seems like he got ejected for not only coming out with a sticky hand again. We'll get into whether or not you can like wash the rosin off, but he also had rosin on his glove, I guess, is what the biggest fuss of all about, which according to the MLB rules, which they updated last year, so you could use the rosin bag, but you can't apply it to the gloves or the uniform, or you can't combine it with sunscreen. So obviously the umpires thought something was up. The first time he had it on his glove, they had him change his glove, and he washes his hand and come out with a sticky hand again. So
I had heard rumors that he had taped the pitch com to the inside of his glove, and part of that tape is some of what they felt too, the sticky stuff. But I don't know if that's true. Listen, sweat and rosin will make your hands sticky. Period.
yeah.
So I mean, he likes to rub the back of his neck. So if he rubs the back of his neck and then picks up a rosin bag,
Yeah.
you're toast.
I guess the biggest complaint from the umpiring crew in their comments after the game is he hardly touched the rosin bag when on the mound, which means he was applying rosin in the dugout, which umpires have started to not like this year. They're becoming a little bit more suspicious of that. And not only that, what was the other one? His hand was the stickiest that they'd felt all season. So they couldn't tell. So that's why they had him wash his hands, because they weren't sure. But take it as you will. It's a 10-game suspension under the rules.
Automatic 10 games,
Yeah.
by the way. As soon as they threw him out, he knew it just cost him $100,000 to go to work and get tossed out of the for 10 games, which I know it sounds like a lot for those of you that are listening. It's 2 starts. That's it. So in essence, it's like a normal position player. It's like a Mookie Betts or Ronald Acuna Jr. getting suspended for 2 games.
Yeah.
It's nothing. Okay.
And those of you social media warriors, you know who I'm talking to you. He does not deserve a 50-game suspension to miss 10 starts. Don't be ridiculous.
Somebody said 50-game suspension. What's wrong
Yes,
with these people?
somebody said he should be suspended 50 games so he misses 10 starts or something like that. And I find that absolutely ridiculous unless he's like applying, he's doing the old Joe Niekro filing the ball down.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Like,
I
come on,
mean,
10 starts? Come on.
it's bad
I,
enough that the Mets are missing the Japanese player. They're missing Kate Upton, and now they're going to miss Scherzer for a couple of starts. Mets are in a division that's highly competitive. The Phillies are starting to turn it around. The Braves look great. The Mets can't afford very many pitchers to go down.
yeah. And I think it's a lot bigger than what some people think. They start a series with the Padres tonight to kind of finish off their road trip. But they'll certainly miss Scherzer over the next 10 days. I'm sure he'll appeal it. They might reduce it to 5 games. I don't know. MLB will investigate it and then not tell us everything. You know how they are.
Exactly. 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 So that's just it's ludicrous to me. But yeah. I'm going to stay in the pitching area, and I'm going to say that. How do I say this? I've been watching Mad Bum's career for a lot of years, and he was designated for assignment today. And as one baseball person, I won't mention names, but Alana Rizzo said on her Twitter, she's like, if this is it for Mad Bum, he had a heck of a career. She used a different word. I cleaned it up a bit, but so Madison Bumgarner was designated for assignment by the Diamondbacks today. He's had an awful start, absolutely awful, and his game yesterday was even worse, or Sunday, whenever it was that he pitched last, or Tuesday, something like that. Just absolutely awful. And so, if you know baseball rules, designated for assignment doesn't mean he's off the team. It just means that, if he clears waivers, he becomes a free agent. If he doesn't clear waivers, then another team picks him up. There's plenty of teams right now that need pitching. He might benefit by being out of the National League West, being, a Giants guy for so many years and a Diamondbacks guy. But whoever picks him up, unfortunately, has to pay him $34 million this year. So
If he
what's that?
if he clears waivers, they just have to pay him league minimum.
Right, but the Diamondbacks will have to pay the rest.
Yeah.
So either way, he's guaranteed almost $3 million a month this year for not working. Or, or some team picks him up. So, Mad Bum was a Hall of Famer in my book up until about 4 years ago. And then about 4 years ago, it kind of just started falling apart on him. So I don't know how this is going to play out for his Hall of Fame voting. I definitely don't think he's up. Years ago, we were talking about Mad Bum and Kershaw being like neck and neck, right? First ballot Hall of Famers. I don't think you can say that about Mad Bum anymore. So
Yeah. I mean, over a 9-year stretch. Hold on, I'm pulling the numbers up. I should have had this ready because
this is a top fan stats guy right here. That's why we call him top fan stats guy.
He was one of those guys. He came up he tasted the major leagues at the age of 19 in 2009. Became part of the Giants rotation in 2010 when they won their first World Series. And then from 2011 to 2019 with the Giants, he threw a lot of innings. It's not loading his cumulative total, so I'll just read it off for you. But it kind of feels like, one of those instances where the Giants ran him into the ground. You could talk about Tim Lincecum. You could talk about Matt Cain, also from the same vein with the same team at the same time. But Bumgarner threw 200 plus innings in 6 consecutive years from 2011 to 2016. And then he missed time with injuries in 2017, 2018, and he threw 207 innings in 2019. So, if we take away the past 4 seasons, Madison Bumgarner probably has an outside shot of making the Hall of Fame with how just based off postseason stats alone, because the writers are romantic about the World Series. But it's really astonishing how far he has fallen. He's just lost a lot of velocity on that fastball, and it doesn't move a whole bunch.
Yep.
So,
Yep. I mean, yeah. Yeah, and the Diamondbacks are kind of not rebuilding. They actually started out well this season. And if they consistently play like this and consistently play little ball and Carroll keeps playing the way that he is, they've got a shot, an outside shot for a playoff team this year.
yeah, they certainly look a lot better than years past out of the gate. I think cutting Bumgarner is a move that a good team would do. So that's a step in the right direction. After 4 bad starts, they're not going to play around with that anymore. They're just going to, cut bait, use whatever else they have to try to win. So,
yeah, no, agreed. Okay, what you got for number 3?
we already mentioned the Mets Padres series, but game 1 tonight is going to be interesting to watch because your favorite player, Fernando Tatis Jr., is back from he's back from suspension. He will be hitting leadoff tonight and starting in left field. So we'll see how that goes. I was talking, was it with you at the Padres game? Or maybe it was my dad, that I don't know how they're going to get a guy to play the outfield that's played in the infield his whole life. I know in Little League they always put the bad fielders in the outfield, but that's because they don't hit the ball there. This is 2023 Major League Baseball where everyone and their mother hits fly balls and line drives. So it'll take a little bit more than athleticism. I think there'll be some growing pains adjusting to the outfield. I think the athleticism will help them offset that, but you really got to take good routes, especially in a park like Petco Park where that left field wall kind of comes up on you real quick when it's hit hard off the bat and it gets really deep into the left center field gap. It'll be interesting to see how he adjusts and if he sparks the team offensively, because right now the Padres look kind of dead in the water at the plate with Juan Soto and Manny Machado. So we'll see what his return does to, kind of impact the Padres if this kind of like starts a run for him or
Well,
struggles out the gate.
you and I were at the stadium, and if I had my phone up here, I could look it up the picture, but I took a picture of the scoreboard at one point. There's a number of significant players on that team that are under the Mendoza line. So Tatis isn't going to spark that. Tatis can't swing the bat for Juan Soto, who's batting under the Mendoza line. I think Juan Soto's, I think you can look him up, but I think he's what, a $160, $170, something like that right now.
He's back up to a $190. I think he had a couple hits yesterday against the Braves in the day game.
Okay.
I think he was the only Padre with multiple hits, and it scored the only run with a solo home run. But yeah, still 190. His on base is close to 400. But you need to swing the bat to drive runs, and you can't just walk runs and all.
Yep. So my final one is going to be about, I'm going to give a lot of love here to one team that you don't think I'd give a lot of love to. Okay. They have not one, but 2 players in the top 4, not the top 5, the top 4 leaders for stolen bases. Okay. They have one guy in the top 5 or 7 in home runs. They have a pitcher that's 3-0. You know what team I'm talking about?
Leaning towards Baltimore.
You're leaning right.
All right.
Yeah. Cedric Mullins. There's another guy over there who's both got 7 or 8 stolen bases already.
I believe it is Jorge Mateo, is it not?
Yeah, Jorge Mateo, yes. And then you've got Montcastle, who's got what, 6 or 7 big flies, and then Zach Gibson, who's 3-0. So I did a YouTube 2 weeks ago talking about small ball and the power of small ball, right? And I got to tell you, the Orioles are doing it right. Do not sleep on this team. The Orioles are doing it right. And if you don't think they're doing it right, then what are you looking at? Right? So, my last
Mix of
my last love is to the Orioles. I got to give them give them big props, right? Because they are playing the game well and they're focusing well on what they need to do. And they play in division. Last I looked, I didn't see their stats last night, Thursday night, but last I looked, they were 10-7. They're in a very
Yeah,
good division, but they're very competitive. So what do you got to say? I mean, the Orioles are playing well.
yeah, I think they're one of those teams that maybe I slept on in my preseason. I didn't think because the lack of offseason moves that they would take a step forward. But it kind of looks like they're trending and that Baltimore can be very good if they can find the pitching. The pitching will help their team's consistency because the small ball approach, especially them moving the wall back in left field at their home ballpark, they kind of help their pitchers out. The small ball approach helps them out because they'll double you to death. It's kind of Baltimore's MO. And they got a lot of really good hitters that are athletes. And out of the gate, I know if you look at the AL East, it's kind of a cluster.
Yeah.
The Boston's the worst team at 500 at 10-10.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a dogfight, and we're going to see it. Is Tampa Bay start for real? Are the Yankees going to be able to withstand all the injuries, or is Baltimore adding their top prospects as the season goes along, able to kind of wear them down, or maybe Toronto making a run there from fourth place at 11-8? I don't know. It'll be something to watch.
It'll be something special to watch, that's for sure. Something special to watch. So yeah, I honestly I love your calls, Mad Max, Fernando Tatis. I love your calls. The A's. Obviously we talk about Mad Bum, we talk about Kershaw, we talk about the Orioles. So this week I think that's where you focus in on. I really do. I know we can talk about, the Bronx Bombers, we can talk about the Red Sox starting better than what people thought, or the Rays starting at what 15-2, or okay, those are easy enough topics, but let's dive a little deeper on this one. So, yep. All I have to say is when I saw Max get thrown out, all I could think of was the Keanu Reeves movie, The Replacement, when they gave the stickum to the wide receiver and he was trying to get rid of the cup on his hand, and he was sitting there shaking his hand, trying to get rid of the cup, looking at it, and it was just awesome. Awesome. So, Jackson, do you have any honorable mentions for tonight, or did
Yeah,
we cover it?
there's some good baseball on this weekend. Toronto plays the Yankees,
Uh-huh.
and then the Astros are in Atlanta. So if you want to check those out, and then the Padres play Arizona. So
Okay.
that should be three really good series to watch this weekend.
Right. Right. Exactly. And yeah, and I suspect that by the time we do this next week, um, Tampa Bay would have cooled off a little bit. So let's see how this all plays itself out, right?
I mean, who knows? They they had another shutout today, didn't they?
Did
They
they?
won. I know they were off today. That was yesterday. They won like 9-0 or something like that.
9 times. 9 times.
8-0. Yeah, they won 8-0 yesterday. So
But that was against Cincinnati, right? Is
it's still a major league ball club.
that what you're gonna say
But
about the A's too?
no, they're definitely like a double A and a half ball club. Unfortunately.
Man. Oh man. All right, my friend. Well, Top Fan Rivalry followers, this is our weekly review for you. Obviously, you're already in the locker room, so you know how to get this and you can see and have access to it. What I will tell you this, oh, sorry, I'm grabbing something for my cat. I'll tell you this, um, that you need to recommend the locker room to some of your friends. There's a lot of good things happening. The rivalry talk is up now. We've got our third episode getting ready to get filmed in a couple of weeks. That should be totally awesome. Totally awesome. And then we'll take it from there. We'll see where we go. So hope you enjoy this week and check out the watch party list coming up. There's going to be a lot of exciting announcements. So, Jackson, how do they get merchandise? What code do they use?
Use code Jackson, get 10% off. And also as like a self plug, check Thomas and I out, Chop House Chatter.
That's
This
right.
week will be a little silent. I just came back from vacation. Thomas is going on vacation, but once he gets back, May baseball, plenty to talk about. So we'll be talking Braves. We'll be
There,
having some fun guests on.
there you go. There you go. All right, my friends, the Top Fan Rivalry followers, thanks for being on. Thanks for listening to us. It's always fun to do this with Jackson, and we'll do it again next week. So, Jackson, we'll see you next week.
See you next week.